My name is Cece, and on behalf of Scrapbook Centrale, welcome to another One Take Friday. So this week I'm going to show you how easy it is to do an image transfer onto a metal sheet, and we're going to use a whole bunch of products by Imagine Crafts. Okay, so I have everything I need to start the transfer. I have my piece of metal, and I'm just going to peel off the protective layer. And there are different sizes of these pieces of metal. They come in packages like these. They're called sheet metal by Imagine Crafts. And the image that I'm using right now is Photo Elements, which is also another Imagine Crafts product. And it comes in different themes and different sizes. So I have the size that coordinates with the size of metal sheet that I have. Now, if you're doing this at home and you want to transfer your own images, it is recommended to use either a laser printed image or a photocopier image. It has to be a toner-based ink. The images from an inkjet printer might not be compatible. These images were specifically designed for transfers, for image transfers. So I have here a creative medium. It's also by Imagine Crafts, but you could also use gel medium. Any gel medium that you have at home would do the trick. So I'm gonna grab some of that with a regular paintbrush, and I'm going to layer this, not too thick but not too thin. I just want to have a good even coat. So I'm going to spread the gel evenly all over the piece of metal. Obviously, the more gel you put, the longer you'll have to let it sit. Okay, so I'm going to cover my image on the image side with the piece of metal. I'm going to flip that over, and I will take my squeegee, which is a Sukaneko product, and starting from the center, I'm going to just fan out, just to remove the air bubbles and also to remove the excess medium that I may have put down, like this. And I'm going to let this dry. It is suggested to leave it at least for 5 minutes. I would let it sit for a little bit longer, maybe 10 minutes. So I'm just going to put this aside, and while this is drying, I'm going to be showing you other things you can do, other cool things you can do with the sheet metals. Another fun thing you can do with the metal pieces is you can actually emboss them with an embossing folder. So let me show you how that works. Again, I'm going to remove the protective layer. And I'm going to put this right about here. And I'm going to roll this into my machine just like I would a regular embossing folder. And there you go. So what I could do with this now is I could either colorize this with some stains on ink, or I could take some alcohol inks. I have two colors here. I have Stream and Lettuce. Let me get my craft sheet. So this is Lettuce. And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can simply drop the ink randomly on your metal piece. You don't need to use a felt and an applicator. I'm going to go wild, and I'm just going to add the rest like so, and just let the ink do its thing. Ooh, I like that. This is fun. There. So what I would do is I would let this dry, and it's not going to take too long. Maybe I'll add a bit here. Ooh, I really like that. This is a lot of fun. Oh, look how cool that is. Now let's go back to our metal piece while this is drying. Okay, so now that my piece is dry, I'm going to put this in a little water bucket, and you want to leave it in there at least 5 minutes, but I would suggest leaving it a little bit longer until you see the image peeking through the paper. It'll become, the white paper will become sort of transparent. You'll be able to see the image through, and this is when you know that you can start rubbing at the paper. So for now, we're going to let that soak. So now that this is dry, I'm going to zoom in again. I have black StazOn, and I'm just going to rub some of that ink over the raised areas just to give it more of a grunge look. And this will also make the colors pop. Oh, I really like that. Look how fun that is. I would use this as a decorative piece on a scrapbook page for a guy, even a card. Insert a beautiful chain around this and you have a wonderful piece of jewelry. I would protect this piece though using the glaze-on. The glaze-on is kind of like a protectant for your metal pieces, so I would seal this with the glaze-on. Now something else that you can do also with these metal sheets, and let me zoom out. I have sort of an explosion box album that I did at one of the events that we went to recently, and you'll see some of the metal sheets that we've used here. This is, let me zoom in. This is stamping with StazOn on a metal sheet. The reason why glaze-on was so important for this piece is that we wanted to have different layers of color, but not necessarily have them mixed together. When you look at the piece, all the colors are totally intact. And then I actually stamped with some gold metallic StazOn. And the reason I was able to achieve this is because all of the layers underneath were contained within the glaze-on sealant. So this is another use for the metal sheets. Of course, we do have this size. There's also some dog tags that we have. It comes in various sizes. Now here, in the middle here, attached around the ribbon, is an image transfer that I had done. And it's kind of like a beachy scene with two boats in the horizon. And this is what we're going to be doing with our piece that I started with. Okay, so my image has been soaking for quite a while now, and it looks like the image is peeking through. So I'm going to start rubbing at the paper very gently. And there we have our image, totally transferred on a piece of metal. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just sanding off the edges. So I'm going to go around it with the black StazOn. I think I'm going to use the StazOn. And I'm going to apply it with my fingers. There we go. So there's our final piece. Look how beautiful that is. Love to transfer image. And if you remember my earlier piece that I've embossed, I turned this into a necklace. Look how gorgeous that is. I added some bling. I added some StazOn all around. Of course, it's on both sides. And I pierced a hole here with my crocodile. I added a jump ring and a chain, and with a clasp. That makes a beautiful piece of jewelry. And of course, well, you can stamp on the metal sheet as well. So if I want to apply this piece to my explosion album, I will bring that back. I've added a ribbon around my album. I'm going to put the cover back on. I'm going to tie a knot. And before I complete the bow, I'm just going to add my metal piece to the ribbon. Like this. And now I can do my bow. And have a beautiful embellishment for an album that you've put in a lot of effort into making. That metal piece just adds to your album. So these are just a few examples of what you can do with the metal sheets. I hope that you'll give them a try. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. And I will see you next week. Bye!